Raftus and Rufus Get Carried Away, featuring Isaac Inventori and his new invention. Isaac Inventori was lying on his back, looking up at the sky, and he wasn't moving. "Why is Isaac flat out like that?" Raftus asked as he and Rufus walked along the track near the sea. "Do you think he has fallen over and hurt himself?" "No, of course not," replied Rufus. "Polly Post told me that when Isaac Inventori lies on his back like that, he is thinking. Probably thinking about a new invention. Polly Post said you never disturb Isaac if he is lying down, because he might be working out how to invent something very important." "I wonder what Isaac is thinking about right now," whispered Raftus. "He might be working on some new invention at his factory. I'd really like to know if he is." "Polly Post said Isaac can lie down on his back for an hour or more, just thinking," said Rufus. "Hey, Raftus, if we ran very fast back to Isaac's factory, we might be able to peep through his window and see something. Come on, let's go now." It took the two little bears 44 minutes to get to Isaac's factory. They climbed up on a box and peered through the window. "Wow!" exclaimed Raftus in excitement. "Look at that, Rufus. It's a funny-looking box with knobs and buttons. I wonder what it is. I'm going inside if the door isn't locked." "We'd better be very careful," replied Rufus, "and we'd better be quick. Isaac might come back very soon." The door to Isaac's factory was open a tiny little bit, so Raftus and Rufus squeezed through the gap and stared in amazement at the funny-looking box with knobs and buttons. "It's got a sort of door over here," said Raftus. "I'll see if I can get inside." "Wait for me," whispered Rufus. The two little bears pushed on the door in the funny-looking box with knobs and buttons, and it opened. They carefully went inside. "Hey!" shouted Raftus. "We're in a huge room. How did that happen? And what is that big handle over there?" The toughs were beside themselves with excitement. What would happen if they moved the big handle? Raftus and Rufus could just reach the big handle. They both put their hands up and pulled the handle down. Suddenly, there was a swish, swish sound that went on and on and on. The little bears began to get a little bit worried. Then the noise stopped. "Let's get out of here now," exclaimed Rufus. "Isaac might be coming back." "We don't want to be caught," replied Raftus. We'll open the door and be back in Isaac's factory, then we can run home. Carefully they went out through the door in the funny-looking box with the knobs and buttons. "Where are we?" said Rufus in a little squeaky voice. "Where are we? This isn't Isaac's factory." "We're in the Raftus post office," exclaimed Raftus. "How did we get here?" "The funny-looking box with knobs and buttons must have brought us here," said Rufus. "Let's pull the handle again and see what happens." 4 little hands pulled the handle down. Swish! Swish! Came the sound again. After a while the noise stopped. Raftus and Rufus slowly opened the door of the funny-looking box with knobs and buttons and looked out. "Oh no, oh no, we're outside the Raftus police station," said Rufus. "Let's get out of here quick, smart. Hurry, Raftus. Help me pull the handle again. We must get out of here now." But before Raftus and Rufus could pull the handle inside the funny-looking box with knobs and buttons, Officer Oscar came out the door of the Raftus police station. Officer Oscar rubbed his eyes. What was that funny-looking box with knobs and buttons on the other side of the bridge? Officer Oscar blinked. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. He shut his eyes, then opened them again quickly. The funny-looking box with knobs and buttons had disappeared. I did see it, I did. But where did it go? There's a mystery here. Or maybe my eyes need checking, thought Officer Oscar. I'll go and have a chat to Nurse Naomi Nova. Just when Officer Oscar had shut his eyes, 4 little hands pulled the handle down. Swoosh! Swoosh! Came the sound again. When the sound stopped, they opened the door. They were back in Isaac's factory. I wonder how this handle makes the box move, said Raftus. The little bears jiggled the handle without pulling it down. Oops! Exclaimed Raftus. The handle has fallen off onto the floor. Hurry, Raftus, cried Rufus. I can see Isaac through the window. He's coming back. Quickly the toughs slipped out through the factory door and were just out of sight when Isaac arrived. They hid around the side of the factory under a window. What's Isaac muttering about? Asked Raftus. He could just hear Isaac's voice. Let's listen. Isaac was walking slowly, talking out loud to himself. I think it might work. I'll try that new combination I thought of. Just as well I haven't told anyone about my new invention. It's really not safe yet. The handle hasn't been bolted on properly. I was lucky to get back to the factory the last time I pulled the handle. I'm going to call my new invention Isaac's Instant Travel Machine. That's a good name. I'm pleased to be home again. Now to work. Isaac went inside his factory and shut the door. Now, how did that happen? Wondered Isaac when he saw the open door on the funny-looking box with knobs and buttons. Isaac looked inside, and the handle has fallen off and is on the floor. Just then Isaac glimpsed 2 little heads bobbing down at the window. Those 2 little toughs again, thought Isaac. At least they didn't make the funny-looking box with knobs and buttons actually work. That could have been a disaster. We were very lucky, Raftus, whispered Rufus. We could have disappeared forever. Raftus looked thoughtful as he and Rufus walked home. "Hey, Rufus, we won't tell anyone about what we did. And we won't go pulling any more handles in Isaac's factory. It was really very scary." "It sure was," replied Rufus. "We were very lucky. But it was an amazing adventure, wasn't it?" "Bet I can beat you home." "What'll we do tomorrow?" they sang as they ran. "We'll think of something, we're sure we can."